President Trump decrying political violence following the arrest of the suspect accused of mailing suspicious packages to Democratic officials. Will the fallout from these threats impact the midterm elections? Washington Examiner's Phil Wegman joins us. Phil, a lot of speculation early in the week, especially that all eyes on this and, who did it, what was the motivation, and perhaps it could change the outcome.
Well, we've seen both sides try to spin this to their political advantage, but whenever there's a situation where someone who is bloodthirsty or someone who is mentally unstable is involved, I think context is very important. It would be wrong for us to blame Senator Bernie Sanders for that gunman who walked on the congressional baseball field and took shots at Steve Scalise. And in the same way, it would be wrong for us to assume that President Trump is somehow responsible for the actions of this individual. I mean, this is a man who has a violent past, who has a criminal record, and who was, who had made bomb threats as early as 2002, right. Years before President Trump was involved in politics. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, but I think that the electorate will be able to make that distinction.
Although we saw the media, CNN, on the first day of the bomb, they found these bombs, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer put out that scathing joint statement together, essentially blaming President Trump for this.
Right, and whenever there is a situation like this, it's clear that Democrats are going to try to use this to their advantage. You mentioned the statement by Pelosi and Schumer. Clearly, they are trying to link this incident with the rhetoric that President Trump has put forward earlier on. And I think that we saw him push back on that in that 3 a.m. tweet this morning, perhaps ill-advised. Obviously, the president is going to want to protect himself from any attacks, that this is somehow his responsibility. He doesn't want to fall prey to what the Clinton administration did after the Oklahoma City bombing. But still, I think that politicizing this, I think that the voters will get a bad taste in their mouth when they see that happen.
Well, and it's, sort of, his instincts are always to punch back, especially 3 a.m. When he's up thinking about this. But it was interesting. I was shocked when the statement came out. I thought it was inappropriate because we were in the midst of a criminal. It wasn't even an investigation. There still may be bombs out there, potential bombs or IEDs, as Christopher Wray called them.
Even right now, yes.
Yeah. So hey, I also want to, while I have you here, want to ask you about the Cook political report. I can't believe this, but they just shifted my state, New Jersey, the race between Democratic Senator Bob Menendez and Republican businessman Bob Hugin to a toss-up. We're talking 11 days from the midterms. Someone knocked on my door the other day for Bob Menendez, but they mispronounced his name. They said, "You're going to vote for Mendez?" I said, "No." What do you make of this, though? This is a shock.
It's absolutely a shock, but this has been going according to plan from day one. I spoke with Bob Hugin back in early September, and he told me basically that he is going to run this dark horse race as a sort of knight in white shining armor. He is running on character. He is running on good government. And somehow, miraculously, in a state that Hillary Clinton won by 16 points, he's been able to make this competitive. But, this, New Jersey hasn't sent a Republican to the Senate since the Reagan administration, so there's reason to be cautiously optimistic, but we'll see what happens in New Jersey.
And real quick, too, I mean, we put an asterisk next to this. Bob Menendez has some pretty bad baggage that I don't think he can escape. Maybe he's having a tough time escaping it this time.
Very true, very true. This is an individual who, he isn't just facing down allegations that were made recently. These are allegations that the Obama Department of Justice went after him for. Bob Hugin has a very good case to make that he is the sort of guy who is not going to let New Jersey down in the same way. And it's been very interesting to see Menendez try to move his way out of this. This is something that he's been dealing with not just this year, but for 3 years now.
All right, Phil, thanks a lot. Always great talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Bet you and your 401k cannot wait for October to end. Halloween was the whole month for investors. So when will the selling end?
We saved hundreds on our car insurance when we switched to Geico. This is how it made me feel.